25 years ago, I had the privilege of welcoming Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi to the Durban Jewish community after his return from Israel. Some 2 years later, I helped arrange that he became the keynote speaker at the biannual conference of the South African Zionist Federation. And since that time, he has built a close rapport with Israel and the local Jewish community. Prince Buthelezi was born in Mashlabatini, Natal, on 27th of August 1928. He is the son of Inkosi Matole Buthelezi and Princess Magoga Arzenu Zulu, the sister of Zulu King Solomon Arzenu Zulu. After completing a degree at the University of Fort Hare in 1950, Prince Buthelezi opted for a legal career, which he was cut short when he became Inkosi, or chief of the large Buthelezi clan, in 1953. In 1970, Prince Buthelezi was asked by the KwaZulu Assembly to accept the position of Chief Executive Officer of the Zulu Territorial Authority, a position to which he was unanimously elected by members of that body, despite having for some time succeeded in delaying the imposition of the structure by the South African government. In 1972, Prince Buthelezi became Chief Executive Councillor to the KwaZulu Legislative Assembly, and from 1976 to April 1994 was the Chief Minister of KwaZulu. His steadfast resistance to be honey-trapped by the apartheid regime and accept independence for KwaZulu rendered grand apartheid untenable, as former President and Nobel Peace Prize winner Mr. F.W. de Klerk was later to testify to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. In 1975, Prince Buthelezi founded Inkatha, a cultural liberation organization based on the philosophy and self-help and self-reliance. In the 1980s, his powerful advocacy of universal liberties and free enterprise drew him close to Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and President Ronald Reagan.
Wonderful to be introduced for the second time here by Professor Otley, who is one of the academics whose scholarship is respected by most of us in this country. It's a great privilege to be here. My friend Mr. John Marshall was reminding me that I spoke here for the first time in 1968 in this very room. And those days it was a very rare occasion that such a thing would happen. In July 1986, ladies and gentlemen, a journalist of the Jewish Telegraphic Agency, rather I told that journalist that Israel is indeed a land of miracles. And I remember a joke which I had with my wife when I visited Israel in 1985. I said that although she thought that we had had our last child, she must remember what happened to Abraham and Sarah. Anyway, the journalist reciprocated when I made this remark that by writing in the Washington Jewish Week that I would become the first black president of South Africa. So you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that my friendship with Israel has always been a two-way affair. But I hasten to say that I did not, of course, see myself as the first black president of this country. In truth, though, I have suffered criticism for what some people perceive as support for Israel, because you know the Southwest government has made no effort whatsoever to conceal the fact that it supports the Palestinian cause, and are often both embarrassed and ashamed of the way Israel is sidelined by our country's leaders, particularly when South Africa has the official diplomatic ties with Israel, and recognize its sovereignty. In other words, you can't recognize the right of Israel to exist and at the same time treat it as if it is no right to exist. Our government maintains an unstated position with regards to Israel and Palestinian conflict, and one seldom hears an unbiased statement in Parliament when this issue comes up. Even religious leaders of my own church, like His Grace Archbishop Desmond Tutu, have expressed partisan views when it comes to our foreign policy on Israel. I, on the other hand, have been criticized for being openly supportive of Israel. Because I'm a politician, ladies and gentlemen, and a representative of South Africans in our national parliament, people often try to say my opinion over the question of who is right and who is wrong. I receive press alerts from the Palestinian embassy on a regular basis in my office in Parliament. And I welcome the Ambassador Halime in my office in Cape Town. I appreciate being kept abreast of the news in international politics. And I welcome an invitation from the South African Jewish Board of Deputies and visits from people such as Ms. Jenna Reinbach, who organized this evening's events and who, in fact, took the trouble to come and see me in the hospital when I was resting. That itself shows the friendship that I have with many of our Jewish South Africans. I also attended a function in the Palestinian embassy when the ambassador of Palestine invited me to enjoy some Arabic music at the Pretoria Theatre by singers that he had invited from Palestine. And I remember when I was Minister of Home Affairs, in fact I was offered a trip I was supposed to go to Palestine, but for some reason I was not able to do. And I sent my deputy then was Minister Lindy Sisulu, who today is our Minister of Defense. At the time she was my deputy. Ladies and gentlemen, what I hate is bias, because I think I've suffered as a politician a lot because of bias. And I always remember what my professor, who drafted the Freedom Charter of the ANC, Professor Zachariah P. Matthews. He said something which stuck in my mind all these decades. Professor Matthews would always say, whenever we discuss any issue, he would say, then he would add, there are always two sides to every issue.